Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's just got a bit windy. I'm hoping the audio is going to be alright. It's Thursday evening. I'm still training for country to capital, but at the opposite end of the spectrum, I did a 5k race last night. I don't really feel in 5k shape, and if I'm honest with you, I don't really feel in any kind of distance shape at the moment. Everything seems a bit haphazard and out of kilter with one another. But anyway, I'm out on a recovery run. Legs are a bit achy from yesterday, so I did give it an effort. Didn't quite go to plan though. But anyway, let's talk about Hatfield 5k then. So the Hatfield 5k series, as the name implies, it's run in Hatfield. It's a series of 3 races. I'm sure back in the day when I did this almost a decade ago, it was done fortnightly. So you did 3 races over the period of 5-6 weeks. This year round, and possibly the way it's been for quite a while, I wouldn't know, I've not done it for a few years. It's over the course of 3 weeks, so every Wednesday there's 3 races. The first one was yesterday, obviously one next week, and then one the following week. It's not the most scenic course. It's run round the industrial area in Hatfield. Industrial area makes it sound a bit worse than it actually is. It's a lovely sort of cycle path route round, a few entrances into a few buildings, but there's not much to see. And if anything, it's an industrial area, but it's also Studentville. It's where the accommodation for the University of Hertfordshire is. And so you're either in Studentville or in industrial land, or just on the outskirts of the Hatfield campus of the University of Hertfordshire, which is where I worked for a number of years, and hence why I did the Hatfield 5k series. However, what it lacks in scenery, it more than makes up for in flatness. It's a super fast course. The race organiser yesterday declared it as the flattest and fastest in the universe. Not quite sure that's accurate, but there's no hills. Believe you me, I can find an up flat from anywhere, and this is particularly flat. I don't think there's much grumbling. In fact, the only thing you have to be careful of is going up and down a few curbs on the course, but other than that, it's flat and fast. It does mean you get some incredibly fast times around there. I think the winner yesterday did it in around about 15 minutes. As I said, I'm not really feeling 5k fit, and I do recall not so long ago I used to not run for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and what I do is I turn around, go for a run, and I go around park run. I'll probably go around in 26, 27, 28 minutes, something like that. Couple of weeks of consistent running, I'll be back under the 25 barrier almost immediately without breaking sweat. Been trying to break the 25 barrier for quite some time now. Been consistently running, things seem to be moving in the right direction, but that 25 barrier seems to be quite elusive. Now, I've made some mistakes in trying to get it. I've sort of paced it as a let's go all out as fast as we can and hang on for dear life, and blown up quite early. I'll link to a video back at Henlow Bridges when I did that. I think I went out at about 23:30 pace and then missed 25 minutes just through poor pacing strategy, if nothing else. So, had a quick check of Garmin before doing this race last night. It was predicting, I'll put it up on the screen, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was 24:30. Had a quick look at Strava, again can't remember exactly, but I think it was 24:50 it was predicting. Stride I also looked at, it was predicting 26 minutes, so we just kind of ignore that. Let's focus on that one. So I resolved to go round in about 25 minutes. I was trying to break that sub-25 barrier, and so for that to happen, I was aiming for a sort of 8:15, 8:20 opening mile. I work in miles, by the way, so 8:15, 8:20 kind of mile pace, then try and pick it up to hold sort of an 8:05 or an 8:10, something like that, and then essentially do the last mile in a sub-8 and just cling on for the end and give it all you've got. That was the plan. Let's have a look at the race. So here we are at the start line. You never quite know where to line up, but the first thing that happened was a moment of panic. I started my watch straight away as soon as the countdown happened. I forgot that it was a chip timed race, so there's the chip timing.
Doesn't seem like much, but it took me about 12-15 seconds to get across that start line. I was quite far forward, but we're off to a good start. I've acknowledged, I've known that I've started my watch sort of 12 seconds early. But in my mind, I've got this pacing strategy of doing about an 8:15, 8:20 for the opening mile. And that's what I try and stick to according to my Garmin. But obviously with those extra 15 seconds, I realise far later on that I'm running a bit too fast, and I probably do the opening mile in, well, not in the pace that I want to. But anyway, this is us. So essentially what we're running on now is what we run around all the way. So we'll just slow down really briefly, because on the right hand side you'll see a Garden City runner top come past. And it dawned on me, this is the same person who started the race. He did the countdown and then off he comes flying past everyone. We might see him in a minute again. Slow down again here. There's Karen, one of the running coaches from the club, taking all photograph duties, and then we go through the first kilometre in about 5:12. So this corner here signifies the first mile, and just checking the stats now, I went through that in 8:12, so pretty much the pace I wanted, apart from if you ignore those first 15 seconds at the start line. And we're also just coming up to Hatfield police station, up and down a little curve, and then we turn left and we essentially we end up back having completed one lap, and we're pretty much back to the start area with 1.5 laps to go. So those eagle-eyed amongst you will have seen that we've just been through the 2k marker. I'm going to keep the video going on fast speed, but you can see everyone else pulling away from me. So around about this time we've got a massive stitch, and I couldn't work out what to do, whether just to keep pushing the pace or whether to slow it down slightly and just resolve not to walking, etc., and see if I could get rid of it that way. So seems like I'm holding pace at this moment in time, but eventually you'll start to see everyone sort of pulling away from me, and that's the case for nearly the next sort of kilometre and a half. Just while we're here, big shout out to Amanda over on the other side of the road, who was giving out some great support, another fellow club runner, out supporting loads of people from North Harts. But here you can see most of the field sort of coming past me as I ease off the pace a little. And it's at this point you'll see the start finish area, and we've just gone through the second mile marker, and that's happened in about an 8:44, so significantly slower. You can see 3 of the faster runners have come across the line in around about 15 minutes as I go out for my final lap of the course. It's at this point here that Mandy comes past me and the girl in the blue top. Started with these people right at the very start, and I decide actually the stitch isn't quite as bad as it was. It's eased off ever so slightly, and I decide that I'm going to try and stick with these two for as long as possible. So sit on Mandy's shoulder for a bit, but she starts to pull away from me around about now. And then the girl in the blue top, who's just behind me, I think we do a bit of ping-ponging for the end of this race. I resolved just to try and stay with her as best I can, and she pulls away just slightly here, but I sort of hold the distance. And for the remaining sort of kilometre, this is the 4k marker coming up now, for the remaining kilometre we sort of ping-pong a little bit, or I spend most of the last kilometre trying to catch up with her or keep up with her. So thanks for that person, because they helped drag me round for this last sort of kilometre. So this is the final left turn on the course. Now it's just a straight line, albeit you always think you're a bit closer to the finish line than you actually are. You have to go across sort of 2 roundabouts now and into the finishing shuttle on the right. So here comes the first sort of crossing area. Again, Amanda was around here somewhere handing out excellent support. Past some of the garages on the right hand side. Over the second crossing area, and we should just be approaching this finishing chute just after the bus stop. So you go past the bus stop and then over to the right hand side and into the red finishing arch, and that's me done.
So a day on after the race, didn't quite go to plan. There's a couple of things. One, partly my fault. I forgot all about the race, to be honest. I was working so hard during the day, going from meeting to meeting. I didn't stretch my legs at all, I didn't take on any fluids, and completely forgot all about it until actually my daughter came up to me about 5:30 and said, "What time are you going out, Dad?" So yeah, wasn't really in the race mindset, hadn't prepared very well. Just one of those things. Secondly, I made a return to the gym. I knew that was a bad idea on the Tuesday to go to the gym, and I had some DOMs going on, nothing dramatic, nothing that stopped me going. And then the third big mistake I made, and I think this was the biggest factor on the day, I couldn't work out. I had a momentary blip of whether it was chip timed or not, and it is chip time, but for whatever reason the starter sort of did his countdown, 3, 2, 1, go, and I started my watch. And then as I ran over the chip timing mats, I realised that it was about 12-15 seconds it took me to get over the start line. And then basically I ran to my pace, 8:20 was what I was targeting, but actually that included the 15 seconds. So that first mile for actual running was probably quite a fast one, and therefore my pacing strategy had pretty much gone out the window straight from the off. Anyway, it was good leg stretcher. There's no denying it, it's where I am. So 25:33 I think was the official time, so I'm in 25:30 shape. No bones to be made about it. Do I think I can go faster? Yeah. And the good thing about this race series, well, you've got another attempt to go faster. So I don't believe I can make next week's one. so I'm going to have to miss it. I've got other commitments, but hopefully I can get a couple of weeks more training under my belt. It won't be 5k specific, but maybe next time I won't go to the gym the day before. I might drop back my training just ever so slightly and see if we can whiz round that 5k in sub-25. So looking forward to doing it again. If you're in the local area, it's a fantastic event. You have to be on the money. It sells out really quickly. I think they had 300 participants yesterday. The entire series is sold out. It sold out quite a while ago. But yeah, if you're in the local area, it's an excellent, long-standing, well-organised race by Garden City runners out of Welwyn Garden. And thanks to Affinity Water for sponsoring it each year. Good to see everyone there. I know NRG did a video. Be well worth popping over to see his when it gets released. And other than that, I'll catch up with you all soon.